A question that I get a lot is how do I solo over fast chord progressions? I understand that if you have a slower or medium type of jam track, it's easier to kind of put your thoughts together, follow your chord tones, look at your scales. But when something's moving really fast, how do you make it all work? This lesson is based off a question that I got from, on my new email address, which is ihaveaguitarquestion@gmail.com. If any questions, email to me and I'll answer them. This is one of them. I find that with fast chord progressions, you have to have this like strategic plan. Now, let's think it's, classic rock in approach, like Zeppelin, Aerosmith, even Guns N' Roses type approach. And I'll show you how it's done, and you should be able to handle this type of soloing whenever you need it. So the first thing we're going to do is look at this chord progression. Now, I wrote a very simple chord progression. I'll turn my distortion on or my guitar on, and it's just this. Let me show you. It's It doesn't matter that these are power chords. You can do this with any chord progression or anything, and my Patreon practice sessions will have that. So when you look at this riff, it starts on an E. It's an E power chord. Now, when you have to understand that when you have a fast chord progression, your guitar solo is going to stand out. It becomes its own entity. It really draws the attention away from the chord progression and puts the focus on what you're doing. Again, if you listen to solos in this classic rock genre, you're going to hear what I'm talking about. They really kind of pop out. And so to do this, you have to first choose which scale you're going to utilize. Now, in choosing a scale, you have many, many options, and the option that you need to pick needs to be based on your knowledge of music and also what sounds good. So when you look at this chord progression, the first thing I'm going to do is say, okay, I'm going to turn my volume back on. It starts on an E. Ends on an E. So right now I'm thinking E. Okay, so let's just think E major, E minor pentatonic. So E major. Let's just start with E major. So my E major pentatonic, I'm going to use the form 1 pentatonic, right? This basic. This is an E major because my pinky's on the E. Now, so what I'm going to do is play this backing track, and I'm just going to kind of like mess around, right? You have to test this out. You have to do this type of process in order to find what scale works the best. So I'm just going to mess around in the E major scale, E major pentatonic. Let's see what it sounds like. So right there, it sounds great. I should raise the volume of my my looper a little bit. Sounds fine. I thought it sounded really good. All right, so now E major, let's look at the opposite, E minor. The minor pentatonic is always going to work in some fashion. So I'm going to go to my E minor pentatonic, 12th fret. And I'm going to screw around just like that. We're going to test this out. Let's see what it sounds like. Works just as well, all right? But there's a third option. I'm going to turn off that fuzz. There's a third option which you want to look at, which is you want to take a look at the root notes of whatever chords you're doing. If I was playing E majors and C sharp minors, it doesn't matter. What you're going to do is you're going to look at the root notes. So I have E, E flat, let's see, C sharp, B, A, B, F sharp, and E. And now my job, and this is a hard job, but you got to do it, okay, because you never know, is you got to find, is there a pentatonic, like, in that? And so, what I'm going to try and do, E, I'm going to move the E here, E flat, so, if you look here, and this takes time, okay, this is the third option that you have to sit and kind of map out your guitar neck as best as possible. But here's that riff again by root note, and I'm trying to fit it into a pentatonic, and like a form 1 pentatonic, because any pentatonic is a pentatonic. And so there's my E, E flat, C sharp, B, A, B, F sharp, and then you can go back to E here. So man, this really looks like an A major / F sharp minor pentatonic. And we have a little bit of a grace note here, a little. So I'm going to load this pentatonic up now. Now that I found a pentatonic that has the root notes to it. So I'm going to try an F sharp minor pentatonic because it has, you know, a lot of the notes in it. Now, this is a test. This is what you got to do. You can't do this on the fly, by the way. This is like getting prepared for it. You know, you can't just like get on stage and go, okay, what's the riff? Okay, let me give it a go. It takes some preparation. All right, so let's see what that F sharp minor. I'm going to bring the F sharp minor pentatonic from the 2nd fret into Soloville up on the 14th fret. I don't know what it's going to sound like. Let's just see. I don't like it as much. All right, so which one of these? Now that I have these 3 options, like, and if you can think of other options, the idea is find your pentatonic first. It's not going to be just a pentatonic solo, but it's like, okay, so I had the E major, I had E minor, possible F sharp minor, pentatonic. To be honest, I think I like the E major the best. It just gives me that Led Zeppelin feel. So I'm going to try it one more time. So I did something there by instinct, and we'll talk about that. So the first thing is choose which scale you like. Some of you might like the E major, some of you might like the E minor, some of you might like the F sharp minor. I didn't really dig it. But once you choose what scale you like, now we have a starting point. And so that's the first part. Second part is now we have to look at what I see as the 4 like big moves you find in solos over a fast chord progression. Now, I gotta say this, if you're a fan of like jam band stuff, you know, if you like Fish, you know, you can think of the song like It's Ice, you know, there's some fast soloing over a very large changing chord progression, but it's more of a written riff, than it is a solo. This is about a guitar solo on a fast riff, like improvised or written as a real standout solo. And so there are 4 ingredients I find, and I'll tell you what they are. They are slow movements, fast movements, motifs, and like endings that go with the riff. Those are the 4 things, and we'll discuss each one. And so each one of these can kind of be mixed and matched in any kind of order, except for the ending part. So let me show you. The slow stuff, you usually find a good juxtaposition between a fast-moving chord progression and a slow start to a solo. And so I'm going to hit that looper, and when I say slow stuff, I mean just holding out notes, moving slowly but with confidence, okay? That's something that everyone I meet, including myself, everyone, we always have to work on is plucking nice and firmly and meaning what we play, all right? And again, we have the right formula, so play it like you mean it, all right? So we have the E major pentatonic, and let me show you what I mean by like slow stuff. Okay, so that was slow stuff. That's not the whole solo. But what I mean is I'm holding notes. I'm not trying to, you know, show off. There's a great juxtaposition between fast-moving chords and holding your notes, okay? So I have an E major pentatonic. The first thing is the slow stuff. The second thing is the fast stuff. Now, I will say this. I did choose the E major pentatonic. On my Patreon practice sessions, we'll do something with a minor pentatonic, and I'll show you why you want to like know this. This is a major pentatonic, and I know just from like the history of playing guitar and learning all my favorite solos that when you have a major pentatonic you're soloing with, there are some extra bonus notes you can put in 9 times out of 10 and to create fast movement. And in the major pentatonic, it's all right. Now, there's not a lot of theory here. This is just, you don't even want to think about it. You just want to think about this as your blueprint, okay? So instead of 12, 9, you have 12, 10, and 9. Same thing for the B string. All right, these notes are here. They add so much flow and color to the pentatonic that I find that if you're soloing in the major pentatonic over fast chord progression, you have this standout thing, and when you go from slow to fast, you can incorporate this pattern. And it sounds really good. So let me show you what I mean. Here's a slow to fast, like movements. All right, so you saw there a slow type thing. And then I put in some fast stuff. Use your hammer-ons and pull-offs. That's what they're there for. All right? And so those are the two things we have so far. Slow movements, fast movements in this pattern. Right now we have this pattern now. The third thing is creating like a motif, a phrase that you commit to. This is from my Stop Noodling video. A phrase that you commit to, and then the second half you just change it a little. All right? So listen for slow. Listen for fast, and then I'm going to put in a line. Who knows what it'll be, because what I'm doing is I'm improvising here, and I'm trusting in my scale, and whatever I do for this first moment, I'm going to commit to, and then my variation after it is going to be similar, and it's going to tie things together. So let's see what we can do here. There was that motif right there. Something like that, where I kind of repeated something, put a little tail on it, repeated it again, and put a different tail on it. And that creates a sense of like, oh, okay, you know, there's something happening in the solo. You can do your slow, you can do your fast, you can do your motif. Now, these three things here can be mixed and matched in any order. And let me try it again, but with a different order, and let's see if you can spot it, okay? Well, now I have to like, okay, clear my mind. Here we go. So there was the motif first, slow, and then fast stuff, all right? And again, these three ingredients really are the components, and you can mix and match and do whatever you want. Again, on Patreon, we're going to talk about all this with a different chord progression, same chord progression, mixing and matching. Now, I do find this next move, the fourth move, which is like the last one, is always in the last position, which is you're going to try and get the last several notes or whatever the chord progression is into your solo. So we have right here. That's A, B, F sharp, E, E. And so I'm looking at my E major pentatonic, and I have my A here, my B, F sharp, E. They're in there, except this note's not in the pentatonic, and that's fine. It's one of those little grace notes we talk about. But you want to find those notes. And now you want to hit those notes on the ending and put the period at the end of your sentence, or the exclamation point. Now, to make it more exciting, there it is right there. I'm just going to kind of do those screams. Here's an A, and here's a B. I don't know if I can get to the F sharp, so I'm just going to hit the F sharp. Then I'm going to get to the E up here. And kind of end the solo bound with that last movement. So it sounds like, you did it, and you had the purpose there, and you have the confidence. The confidence is everything. And this solo, when you do these ingredients, again, it stands out. You're not binding with the music. You are creating something that stands out and goes with it, but you're not relying on hitting those chord tones in the whole solo. At the end, you do it just to show, like, hey, look what I did, right? But let's see what it sounds like. I gotta just let's see if I can hit that fast. Let's see. messed up there, but I'm just going to keep that one in, okay? And that's all you need. Excuse me, that's all you need to kind of create a solo. Now, you can do the same thing here. Like, you can go lower. Let's see, A, B, and then F sharp. So I'm going to do one more, but, you can bring it down. And you can end it like that. Let's just try one more. Let's see how more embarrassing this can get. Let's see. All right, so there you go. And so now it's really, really simple. The hardest challenge here is lowering your distortion. Is the confidence. The confidence that you need to have to pluck hard, to push firmly, and convince you and the music and the listener that you belong in this role. That's the most important thing, all right? So what I mean by that is you pick the scale. You did a process where you kind of chose the scales. You added some bonus notes from my knowledge, and we'll talk about, again, on Patreon, we'll talk about all this with different jam tracks. And then you learn about these 4 ingredients that you can mix and match. The slow movements, the fast movements, the themes, the motifs, and then binding with the ending. Now, the ending's got to be in the ending spot, so it's really 3 movable pieces. And somebody's at my back door. And this ending here. And so I'm going to have this backing track on Patreon. You can create your own backing track. You can do this. Do the steps. Find the pentatonic. Use the starting notes. Use the ending notes. See if you can get a riff. See if you can get a pentatonic close to the root notes of the actual song. And then choose the scale. And then start working these ingredients in. This will make you a much more confident player, and you'll be able to do it quicker and quicker and quicker. When you look at the solo for Hey Joe, I just want to say, everyone's like, how did he choose the E minor pentatonic? And the question is, how did, Hendrix choose the E minor pentatonic? It's C to G to D to A to E. Well, there's that ending E, and he probably said, okay, well, it ends on E. Let me try an E major. Okay, let me try the E minor. Oh, yeah, that works good. Let me try it again and make sure it works. All right, let me put my own flair on it. I have a video about the Hey Joe E minor pentatonic. It'll be popping up right here. But with that being said, I hope this made sense. I hope it helped enthuse some people. And again, this question came from this email that I have, which is I have a guitar question at gmail.com. If you have any questions whatsoever and you haven't had them answered, shoot an email. Let's see. If I get it and I can teach it and I understand it, I'll make a video about it. This is what I love doing. So I hope you enjoyed it. With that being said, rock and roll, and we will talk soon. Bye-bye.